Hi everyone and welcome back to the RFD Show. We are so excited because rugby is happening this weekend and I am so excited to see some players play again on their fields, in their jerseys. It's just going to be so exciting. My name is Stefandre and I'm joined by Dan the Man. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good. Busy working again. So as restrictions is being lifted in the lockdown, obviously can go back to work. So it's good. And also getting rugby back is a massive excitement level here in South Africa. So
That's so awesome. I'm glad that you're busy and hopefully the cold weather isn't getting you down and out like it is doing for me. But yes, so in this episode, we are quickly going to discuss exciting news that dropped this week about Super Rugby Australia, which is actually just to confirm the name, it's the Vodafone Super Rugby competition in Australia, which will also be featuring 5 teams. Daniel, what do you think about that? Just before we get into the whole conversation about this, what is your feeling about this competition that Australia announced?
well, it's much easier to pronounce than the New Zealand one, which is
Yes.
a good start. I believe it's a good idea. Obviously, to get match fit, as you've mentioned before. You want to keep your best players fit and on the field at all times. So, internationals are coming back soon, hopefully. So you have to have your best players able and eligible to play. So you can't just have a 3-month training program, then it'll be too late. And I think everybody's hungry to earn some money doing what they actually are good at. So rugby players want to play rugby. So they want to get back on the field. So I believe it's a good step for Australia. I heard there's a rumor there won't be crowds. I don't know if you know anything about that, but yes, that's what I read. So
That's going to be interesting because I don't know about the Australian figures when it in regarding with the COVID-19 and the whole pandemic. I know, of course, New Zealand has been doing very well. I'm very excited and glad and congratulations to them for
yes,
allowing crowds and just defeating actually the whole process of this COVID pandemic. But about Australia, I have no idea if they will allow crowds. I think that will be finalized just the week or two before the official kickoff, which is the 3rd of July. It's a Friday, and it will be kicked off on Suncorp Stadium between the Reds and the Waratahs, which is going to be an exciting game, high quality team and players. I think that will be very exciting to see. But just to discuss the competition, because that's actually what I've been wondering since I've heard this news. I'm excited that there's a competition for Australia, and I'm excited, of course, that New Zealand's Aotearoa competition will happen in the next 48 to 72 hours, depending when the listeners view this episode. But I'm still wondering if this will be a type of new normal in Super Rugby in the Southern Hemisphere. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I hope not. I still hope that we can play each other. I'm meaning that South Africa will play Australia and New Zealand. And there's a lot of debate on that as well. I know you want to get into that as well. So we'll talk about that later. But I think that this might be normal for now, for maybe the next year. But then when internationals come, you'll see the standard of rugby as being changed.
Yes.
Because if powerhouses play powerhouses, you'll get better and better and better. But if you just play your own people, you get used to it, and then you settle, you get a comfort zone. And I think that's the way the problem will come in. And you'll get hungry to play international levels. And as you've mentioned, there is no money involved in playing the same players in your own country, unless you can get someone from overseas to come play in South Africa. And we know our value of money isn't that much worth against someone like in Europe. So it's going to be difficult.
Yes, and I completely agree with you. And I think this will be a normal for this year, and next year we'll actually see. And I completely agree with your statement. We will see when the international fixtures kick off again. Did the competition in New Zealand benefit New Zealand teams or not? Did Australia's competition, benefit the Australian teams or not? If they go against each other, who actually advanced in gameplay and who just stagnate, who did stagnate in this time. So that will be very interesting to note. But yes, let's dive a bit deeper into this competition. So like I mentioned, it will be the Vodafone Super Rugby AU competition, which will kick off Friday the 3rd. There will be 2 matches every weekend for 10 weeks. So there will be a total of 20 matches, which is going to be interesting. I will list the teams just in a few seconds. But I think the most interesting thing about this competition is going to be the way that the finals will happen at the end of this series. So for those who have not read up about this competition, there will actually be a qualifying final on the 12th of September, and the final of this competition will be on the 19th of September. So how this will actually work out is after the 10 weeks, after the 20 matches, the team that finishes top of the ladder after the regular season will host the final, and then the second and third teams will play in a qualifying final to get a spot in the regular or the final to play for the silverware, which I think is quite interesting because I have not seen a competition end like this. This is very creative. I think it's very creative. I haven't seen a competition going on in this direction. Normally it's just round robin or normal playing format, what we always see in Super Rugby or in the Tri Nations, or sorry, not the Tri Nations, Rugby Championship. So this will be interesting. Just before we get into the teams, do you think that will become a type of play for a series final in rugby if we keep this five teams per nation, closed in competition?
It sounds similar to what was on big scale Super Rugby. Number 1 and 2 going through to home semis or even a final if you're number 1, and then number 3 to 6 or 3 to 7 playing out into semis and then going away for a semi-final and then going away for a final if you beat that. It sounds similar to something like that, and I don't like this format at all. It's just purely because that you get an advantage because not playing a game or you're 1 week rested more, which can count against you if you use it wrong. So if you don't practice or if you chill too much, it can shoot you in the foot definitely. But I definitely believe that this is something good. I don't think I would do it this way. I would have the 5 weeks or the 10 games, sorry, and then the 5 teams in order: 1 and 2 play 1 and 4, 2 and 3 semi-finals, final. That's it. And then you get a ranking on that. You can even have a second semi-final or a second final for third and fourth playoff, and then you still have a ranking of 1 to 5 who's the best 5 teams in Australia. Easier.
Yes. I can see your point, definitely. I think this is going to be an interesting concept because for me personally, the first 5 to 10 weeks, well, no, not the first 5 to 10 weeks. The first 5 weeks will actually, set the tone who will end on the top of the ladder, if you get what I'm saying. Like literally, let's say the Reds are playing a heck of the first 5 weeks. They're going to have a rested one as well. But let's say the first 45 matches, they are just dominating. That would probably set them apart quite well to end maybe the first on the ladder. And then it's cemented. They're not going to get knocked out on a semi because they're already advancing to the final, which is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be interesting. So, of course, let's quickly go through the teams as well because there's a comeback kid on the block. So, of course, we have the Reds, Waratahs, Brumbies, and Rebels, which will be on the first weekend. That's going to be very interesting to see. I think some of them really have strong outfits, really strong players, and putting their hand up to show that they are contending for the Wallaby jersey. So that will be very interesting. But then, not the new kid, but the comeback kid on the block will be the Western Force. Okay. So that's a real interesting development. What do you think about that?
I think they should use this if we ever go back to the normal Super Rugby. They should use this as a grading situation. And if the Force actually ends 4th, the 5th team gets kicked out. So let's say the Rebels end last, the Force just goes up and plays. That'll be a great way to eliminate a 4th team. So imagine every nation uses 4 teams. That's Super 12. three nations, and then you can add Argentina for Super 13 or something crazy. But that's a topic for another day. But yes, I believe it's good to have the fours back. Obviously, they made an impression when they last played Super Rugby, and then obviously got removed because of other teams wanting to play. So they have something to prove. They definitely have something to prove now, and they have the opportunity now. So hopefully they take it with both hands and use it. Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully. I'm just gonna throw something out there for all the. Hopefully, we have Australian listeners on this podcast. That would be very cool. So please comment or
Mm.
tweet us on Rugby for Days on Twitter. That will be very cool to know. But it will be so interesting and funny at the same time if the Western Force dominates. I mean, like literally dominates the how can I say it, the more experienced teams or the teams that you think definitely have a chance of going to the final or the qualifying final, and the Western Force just has this, I don't know, championship team coming out, wasting players, like wasting teams, and just advances through and cementing a final spot. That would be, I mean, that would be something to write home about. um,
Yeah.
that would be very interesting because then I want to see them play against the Crusaders the next
Yeah, that's what I
year.
wanted to say. We'd play the winner of the Aotearoa Cup, and then the winner can take the Bledisloe Cup home. So
Oh, that's interesting. But
yeah,
anyway, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We really appreciate all our rugby fans. We are three guys speaking about rugby, discussing different teams and strategies, even the referees and controversial topics. We love this sport and we're so excited it is back again. If you are listening on Spotify, please go visit our YouTube channel as well. We have a blog up and running, rugbyfordays.com, and we are on all the social media platforms. And until next time, I'm going to leave Daniel with a question of the day.
so my question of the day takes place in Australia. We would really want to know, who do you think will win this version of the Super Rugby, and what do you think about the Force being promoted to the big Super Rugby again, if we ever get that back? So a double question in one.